When a mine emergency occurs, federal and some state laws require that agencies be notified within 15 minutes of the occurrence. Although it is nearly impossible to evaluate the situation and determine exactly what happened within 15 minutes, notifications need to be made. Therefore, at the immediate time that a possible explosion, major fire, entrapment of miners, or other major event occurs, the responsible person assigned at the mine must immediately notify MSHA and the state agency if required. This will eliminate major problems later and prevent the issuance of violations and orders with high penalties. It is better to report the incident to the hotline numbers provided and have the event turn out to be minor than to fail to report within the 15-minute period and suffer the penalties. The MSHA hotline number is 1-800-746-1553. Should the event escalate into a major occurrence, proper personnel will be notified and on their way to the mine so that a command center can be established. This would include company management personnel, MSHA personnel, state personnel, and labor officials if designated. Some management personnel may already be at the mine, and they will begin to establish a command center. Others will be included as they arrive. It is important to remember that mine management is responsible for planning and managing the event. This is a critical aspect of the success of the operation. Do not sit back and expect that MSHA or the state agency, if available, will manage the event for the company. Although success of the operation is important and critical to both MSHA and the state, their primary involvement is not to manage the operation. The responsibility of MSHA and the state falls more into ensuring the safety of all persons involved in the operation, including mine rescue teams, firefighters, and other miners who may be necessary to perform duties. In the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, a high incidence of mine accidents occurred, resulting in fires, explosion, and entrapments. Although unfortunate and discouraging, the number of events resulted in the fact that many persons in the mining industry were familiar with managing such occurrences. It was common to have mines on fire or being recovered from fires or explosions, and mine managers and government personnel were knowledgeable in dealing with such situations. First-hand training in handling mine emergencies was constantly being done through necessity. As mine safety improved and regulations requiring better ventilation, rock dusting, and elimination of ignition sources were greatly enforced, the incidence of fires, explosions, and entrapments reduced significantly. Also, persons who were very knowledgeable in dealing with mine emergencies retired and left the industry, leaving a void in that aspect of experience. It is difficult to provide training for mine emergencies. Situations are varied, and each operation presents different challenges and requires unique knowledge. Also, since mine emergencies are infrequent, some mine managers have never dealt with a disaster situation in their entire career. Therefore, it's important to provide mine emergency training for senior company officials and mine managers, and the training be varied and held on a regular basis to keep knowledge fresh and updated. The best training that can be provided is to conduct simulated mine emergencies, whereby a scenario is provided and mine managers are required to plan and manage the operation. These simulated events often use mine rescue teams to explore and gather predetermined information which is reported back to the command center. Such events provide valuable training for both mine management and rescue teams and create as realistic an operation as possible. It's recommended that all mining companies conduct such simulations at least annually to keep training current and to give managers and teams a feel for what a real situation might be like. Often, MSHA and state agencies will participate in these simulations as they help in training agency officials and allow for training and resolving emergency issues in a positive environment. When establishing a command center, a group of management personnel should be selected. This would include persons knowledgeable in the entire mine, locations of electrical installations, and locations of resources. A good approach to managing the operation is to do all work through a series of written plans. Such plans should be developed by management personnel and be specific as to performing only 1 or 2 operations at a time. Plans should then be submitted to MSHA, the state agency, and miners' representatives if available for approval. This plan development, submittal, and approval process will serve to establish a written record of all directives provided to personnel going underground. Plans will be useful in instructing rescue teams or others of what actions they specifically are to do and can be useful during briefings prior to entry. Plans will also provide a systematic written record of the activities of the full event from start to finish. MSHA and the state agency will also have documentation of their agreement with the plan and will have documentation to substantiate any modifications to the 103J or 103K orders that have been issued. All plans should be formulated by the entire group in the command center if possible, but should be initiated by mine management. This may involve discussions on conditions that are already known, potential for conditions that may be anticipated, problems that might be anticipated, gas analysis information, seismic readings, and other factors of importance or concern. By having the whole command team work on aspects of the plan together, the approval process for MSHA and state personnel may be smoother and require less explanation. Plans should be developed on a step-by-step basis and should be specific to the task to be accomplished. For example, a plan that states that a mine rescue team should enter the area in by the number 2 fresh air base and explore as far as they can would be too vague. Limits should be established, such as limiting the rescue team to exploring a distance of 1,000 feet and then calling outside and reporting all findings before allowing any further advance, which could only be approved by another plan at the command center level. Each plan should remain focused on the final outcome of the event. All steps listed should be aiming toward a final goal, which is to rescue persons, extinguish a fire, or fully recover an area of the mine. Items such as preparing for future production activities should not be included. Before developing each plan, an evaluation should be made of the risk to the persons assigned to enter the mine. A minimal risk entry is always desired, as protecting the mine rescue teams is of primary importance. Because of situations that may be encountered or goals that can be accomplished, additional risk may often be considered or be necessary. For example, the command center may elect to expose rescuers to more risk if there's a possibility to rescue known live persons and expose rescuers to less risk if the task is only to save the mine. This may be referred to as the risk versus value theory. If there are no missing miners and the goal is to extinguish a fire to save the mine, the rescuers may only be exposed to minimal risk. If there are miners missing and it's known that they have not survived, minimal risk exposure may be all that is considered to facilitate recovery of the bodies. If miners are missing and their condition is unknown, but there's likelihood that they might be alive, a higher level of risk may be considered. This might be referred to as moderate risk. If there are miners missing and it's known that they are alive by phone, text, tracking system, seismic readings, or other means, a higher risk level of exposure may be considered. This would not mean that rescuers would be placed in conditions that would be considered as imminent danger, but may allow them to explore faster or proceed farther than would normally be considered. In review, the following efforts should be done by mine management. Establish a command center with representatives of management, MSHA, state, and labor if available. Establish a process for developing and submitting plans which identify steps to be taken to resolve the situation. Plans should be initiated by mine management and developed with the participation of all parties. Plans should be submitted to MSHA and the state agency for approval. Plans should be specific in nature and directives and minimize the work to be done. Plans should only focus on resolving the problem at hand. Planned activities should take into account the level of risk to which the rescuers or workers underground should be exposed. Risk levels for consideration may be: saving a mine may consider only minimal risk. Recovering bodies may consider only minimal risk. Working to rescue missing persons whose condition is unknown may consider moderate risk. Working to rescue missing persons who are known to be alive may consider high risk. The importance of continual training in mine emergencies cannot be overstated. Mining operations should plan mine emergency training at least annually, and senior company officials and mine managers and mine rescue teams should be included in dealing with emergency scenarios. Senior MSHA and state agency officials should be invited to participate in mine emergency training.